Pray the real live forever, man. What's up, my dudes? So, DLC for Supercross 3. I wanted to come in here and kind of talk about if I was the head honcho up there at Milestone and all that, and where they're at in the game right now, and all the stuff that's currently in the game, what I would personally do for a DLC in this game. I'm not really sure when we're going to get that or what their plans are for that or whatever, but oh my god, that whip. But yeah, so, I just wanted to come here and kind of talk about it because, we've kind of seen what they've done with DLC in the first and second Supercross game. Absolutely god-awful, worst DLC you could ever imagine. And so let me just explain this, okay? So in the first Supercross game, it wasn't that the DLC was, bad in itself. It was the fact that that game didn't even have a damn free ride track or a compound track when the game first came out at all. It didn't even have a free ride track on it at all. So them coming in there with a free ride track as DLC, yeah, the free ride track was okay and it was kind of fun, but it's like, holy shit, dog. That was just supposed to be in the first Supercross game. That shouldn't have been DLC. That should have just been given to us for free at the least, right? Jesus, Milestone. So now in Supercross 2 and all these other Milestone games, now you just get a compound free ride track from the jump. You don't have to buy DLC to get the compound free ride track. And I'm talking, a lot of people forget this about the first Supercross game, but the only tracks in that entire game when that game first came out was the 17 rounds of the real life Supercross. That was it. There was no free ride tracks. There was no compound. There was no cool, outdoor, these little testing Supercross tracks and Supercross 3. There was none of it. Literally none of it. So that is some of the worst content I have ever seen for any Supercross game ever, or any motocross game for that matter, ever before. That first Supercross game just made that game get boring so quick to me because there wasn't a whole lot of different stuff to ride on, And then it went to Supercross 2 and they come out with the damn, the Monster Energy Cup is DLC, and then the LA Coliseum, which is literally just like someone could have made that in the track editor type DLC. It's just like, really, Milestone, what have you been doing with the DLC in these Supercross games? I don't know. But for the love of God, for the love of Pastrana, whatever you do, bro, in this Supercross 3's DLC, do not go in there and make some sort of, standard-ass in-stadium Supercross track as DLC. Whatever you do, don't go in there and make another Monster Cup DLC unless it's for free. I'm talking about paid DLC here. Don't go in there and do another LA Coliseum DLC crap. Unless it comes with 500 two-strokes, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that because we already have that in these games, okay? When these games come out, they come with 17, rounds of the real-life in-stadium Supercross tracks. So we already have enough of that in these games, is what I'm getting at. You don't need to go in there and give us more of what we already have. You understand? So what I think they need to do, what I think the best thing they could do at this current point in time with this game, and, personally, I think this should have just been in the game from the beginning, but whatever. I am pretty impressed with the compound they do have in this game. Just wish there would have been, at least one more compound in the game. That would have been kind of cool. But what I think they should do with the DLC is have two more completely different free ride tracks, total full-blown free ride compound tracks. One of them like a cool snow biome design or something like that, and then one of them like a cool, tropical biome free ride track. And oh my god, look at this lighting, dude. I can't hardly even see where I'm going at all. Holy crap, Milestone, what is this, dog? Got some Twilight action going on. I can't see anything. There is, oh my god, look at how dark this is. So I have the weather on the cyclic or whatnot, right? But for whatever reason, there's no lights at all. So, like, when the lighting hits a certain time, you literally can't even hardly see the track. This is insane, dude. Kind of cool, though. Like, I feel like I'm, like, riding in the dark. You guys ever done that in real life? Holy shit. That's a good old time riding on a motocross track in complete darkness. But, either way, I feel like I'm on the damn moon right here or something. This is really cool. Look at this, dog. Galaxy vibes, galaxy gear. First dude to ever make a space track in a motocross game. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so back to my point. I think the best thing they could do is come out with a DLC that comes with 2 new freeride tracks, both completely different biomed, and they come with like their own individual new outdoor motocross tracks like they have on this compound track right here, and then 2 or 3 more little outdoor supercross tracks like these on each one of those newer freeride tracks, and maybe like a little freestyle jump area, and then obviously the free ride areas of both of those tracks with big hill jumps and stuff like that. I think that would be about the best thing they could do at this current point, because that's the one thing I feel like this game is lacking a little bit. It's really just like motocross track content. And yes, I understand it's a supercross game, okay? You don't have to tell me that for the 10th trillionth time. Look at that moon, dog. Oh, man, that looks sick. I really like the lighting of this right here. This is really cool. It makes you feel like you're on a completely different track, completely different compound, right? But I think that would be really big for them because, see, with this game right now, dude, I just can't get over how this lighting looks so good. That's the thing about this game right now. That's what's really fun about it, is the fact that you can be sitting there on like one of those standard, in-stadium supercross tracks, and when you kind of get a little bored, that gets a little repetitive, you can go race on the national track in the compound with the rain mode turned on, and it's like a whole entire different experience in the game. So it sort of keeps your brain going, keeps you kind of refreshed, keeps you invested and interested in the game. Then when you get a little bored of that, then you go to some of these super tight outdoor like training area supercross tracks, which are totally different designed than the standard in-stadium supercross tracks of the game, which is super badass and super cool. But like, could you just imagine if this game just had like 2 or 3 more outdoor national tracks, and then 5 or 6 more of these outdoor SX tracks, like on a snow biome or a tropical by the beach biome or something like that, or like a moon supercross track or something. Could you just imagine? It would finally have the content in it that we all want, right? And the reason why I always go back to this, these motocross games should have at least 3 free ride tracks in them. The reason why I say that is because that's the way it's always been before Milestone came along. That's the way it was in Reflex. You had 3 free ride tracks. That's the way it was in Unleashed, Untamed. You had even more than 3 free ride tracks in those tracks, with full-blown motocross tracks on them and a full-blown supercross series in each one of those games. And you had multiple free ride, tracks and compounds and little tracks on each ones and freestyle tracks on them and all that kind of stuff, right? And even when you go to like Alive, you still had a bunch of free ride tracks when that game first came out. MX vs. ATV All Out, right? Bunch of free ride tracks when that game first came out. You had the tropical one, the more like desert dune design one. Like, I just really think that, is this a whole nother little track over here? I think so. Wow, they're like 2 tracks right beside each other. I didn't even realize that. But I think at this current point, that's probably about the best thing they could do with DLC. I know some people have kind of talked about wanting, and even Milestone themselves has talked a little bit about potentially having like a, more track module, like track editor module pieces in the game. And the reason why I personally don't really want that at this point, I mean, I want it, obviously, but I don't think it's the best thing they could be doing for this exact game at the current point. The reason why I say that is, I just feel like the track editor really just needs like a full-blown revamp at this point, right? Especially since them not really making much of an improvement from the first to the second to the third Supercross games track editor. All they've really done is added like, a handful more modules and allowed you to make a handful more of them sand. That's about all they've done. They haven't really, I would have thought the track editor would have been to the point to where we could have like make inside ruts and make like red clay dirt sections and change the lighting effects and, make outdoor training Supercross tracks like this and not be forced to make it in a stadium. Like, there's all these other little things I'm like expecting their track editor to be at this point, so I don't really feel like they can do all that with DLC. You understand the vibe I'm trying to get at here? It's not going to be as simple just to do all that with DLC. It's almost like they're going to have to just totally revamp that for the next game or the next game, So I think the easiest thing that they could accurately probably do for a DLC is like 2 more full-blown different free ride tracks in the game and have them both together for like $10. I think that's about the best way you could do it. Everybody would be able to buy it for $10. It'd be a lot more track content, add a lot more longevity to the game, having that more track content. I just about think that'd be the best way they could possibly do it. I mean, you start thinking in your head like they could put in 2 strokes as DLC, but that's kind of fucking retarded when they have 2 strokes in their MXGP game. That's obviously like some sort of licensing issue is why they can't put that in Supercross. So I don't think that's ever going to be in on a DLC. It should just be in the game from the jump. But, you start kind of thinking about some other, possible DLCs. I mean, like more gear or I don't know, stuff like that kind of DLC. But I just really hope they don't go in there and do some standard ass, like Monster Energy Cup or like another Supercross track in the stadium when we already have 17 of those in this game, plus the custom tracks, right? I just don't want to see another one of those kind of tracks, dog. That's what I'm getting at. Like, we have plenty of that. Do something different track content-wise. Put some more motocross tracks in this game. Put a, super rough, rutted, some kind of different design track in the game. Really give you a different cool feeling. That would be something I feel like cool that they could do in this game. But either way, just my little opinion, make it like $9.99 or whatever, right? They got to always trick you at the price a little bit. But if you order this right now, just call us right now in the next 15 minutes and we'll double your order, bro. Oh man, sometimes kind of feels like that with Milestone. They're a little bit a little kind of little too deep into the business side of things sometimes, and they forget about like how people really think and how things really are. They get a little too kind of spreadsheet money hungry sometimes, but I think they're starting to get it back around a little bit. They're starting to get their shit together a little bit, so it'd be really cool to see some like 2 more free ride tracks for DLC, and then maybe in Supercross. Oh my god, look at the lighting. I can't see where I'm going. This is fucking insane, dude. This is actually like so bad that it's cool. Like, and I don't mean bad like it's a terrible thing. I mean like it's so like I can't see even where I'm going sometimes. But it's like cool that they made it that dark to the point to where it feels like it's actually nighttime. And there's no lights anywhere on some of these sections. So, like, that's really, really cool how you boys did that, Milestone. I don't remember it getting that dark in some of the other Supercross games, but maybe it did. I don't know. But what I'm getting at is, how we went from the first Supercross game not having any free ride track in it at all at the beginning, to them releasing a free ride track as DLC. Then when we got to Supercross 3, they just went ahead and gave you a compound without making you pay for it from the beginning. So now maybe if they give you the compound from the beginning without making you pay for it and then give you 2 more compound free ride tracks as paid DLC. Maybe by the time we get to the 4th Supercross game, they'll just give you the 3 full-blown different free ride tracks in the game from the beginning when the game first comes out, and you don't even have to pay extra money for it as, microtransaction paid DLC like all these other motocross games have been doing forever. At least 3 free ride tracks from the beginning. Maybe Milestone will finally get that going by the time we get to Supercross 4, but either way, it's one of those things. I think it really helped the game. Yeah, they could do a couple things with the track editor, but I just don't know how many people is really going to pay for that as DLC. It just starts getting kind of weird, and then you got some people that have the custom track DLC and some people that don't, so then can they still ride on the people's tracks that do or don't, or what? It starts getting they start kind of going down that weird road right there. I just really think they need to totally revamp their track editor in the next game and give you more, outdoor motocross track content. I don't know, maybe they could do something like an enduro Enduro track DLC, something like that. Or they could just implement a couple of Enduro tracks on their free ride tracks like I'm talking about. Kind of like they did with MXGP Pro, right? It had those couple little Enduro sections. Maybe they could do that. Maybe they could have like a full-blown Enduro cross in the stadium DLC. That would be another thing that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. There's a couple of cool things. I just don't really know what Milestone can actually see. It's like Milestone is so locked into these contracts, and so it just feels like they can't do hardly any like really cool different stuff like they might want to do because of it being the official Supercross game, and Supercross being very, like restrictive and not wanting all that, because that's almost like a whole different kind of series when you think about it. But still, it would just be so good for the game when you think about it, man. Like, so good for this game to have that different kind of racing content and different kind of track content like you get in Reflex and All Out and all these other motocross games, having the Enduro and the multiple motocross tracks with the multiple Supercross tracks with the multiple free ride tracks. I'm just really ready for Milestone to get to that point where they really start putting in that true content that we've all wanted them to have from the very beginning, right? I'm just ready for that to happen, honestly. But either way, we'll see if I can do it. I don't know. There'll be some kind of DLC for this game for sure. But I'm just not sure if they'll really make it worth your while or not. But you just have to wait and see. So hopefully they watch this video and listen to some of the things that I said. Really hope they did. But either way, we'll see what they can come up with. So appreciate you boys watching all the videos. Holy terrain, that's insane. And don't forget, I'm uploading a crap load of videos right now. So if you don't have me belled on YouTube, like the little notification bell thing, you might not get all my notifications. Just letting you know, I'm uploading so frequently now that you just about have to have me belled to see all the videos that I'm uploading. So if you want to do that, you can do that. But if not, totally cool, bro. So either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.